Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's good to see everyone this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, now in the hands of our capable city clerk, Ms. Lisa Carroll.
This is the pre-meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, February the 11th. We have appeals. We have requests for waiver of the noise ordinance on February the 14th, March the 4th, from 6 a.m. until 10 p.m. And this is at Spring Hill Avenue and South Bayou Street.
Some of those times were a little long. Let me give you an answer at 2:30. I want to call two of them, make sure that they would be closing, or if they're just asking for all of this time because they don't know when they're going to stop. So give me until 2:30. But other than that, they're going to have the rotation time.
February 15th from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. This is at Lat Stadium. March the 3rd through the 4th from 10 a.m. until 10 p.m. on Hercules Street. September the 3rd through the 14th from 5 p.m. to 6:30 in Lions Park.
You good with the rest of Mr. Carroll?
Lions Park Avenue, excuse me.
Lions Park is okay. That's every year. Hercules Street, that is a family reunion, and I think that is Mardi Gras Day. We have a meeting coming up on the 10th to discuss the double parking on the streets and not being able to get safety vehicles down there and all that kind of stuff. So I need to talk to them.
The 10th.
And then the other one I told you I was worried about the time. So just give me the 10:30 to get the time right.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
Public hearings. Today is the public hearing to declare the structures at 1805 Lockwood Drive and 554 Hickory Street public nuisances and ordering them demolished.
The house at Hickory Street, are we sending things to ownership?
Yeah, all of our notices, our packet has gone out to the owners, first class certified mail. It's my understanding that the gentleman that owns it is still alive. We have had no contact with him, and I just want to remind the council that the rear of this site is collapsing.
Do you know where he is?
No, I do not. We've had no contact from him.
I'm going to ask you to hold this over.
It just a public hearing right here.
Yeah, I mean,
But that's fine. Yeah, we can hold it over. Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can't go find somebody.
All right. All right, Madam Clerk.
Lockwood is okay, Mr. Penn?
Yeah.
Okay. Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. David Edwards regarding the council participation in recognition of Black History moments.
He's not going to be here.
Oh, he's not. Okay. Ordinance is held over. 64001. Consider rezoning property located at 5301 Moffett Road from B2 to B3.
We need to lay this one. It's on. Is it not? Yeah, it was on. It's just, we need to lay this one over again. I'm going to ask for 2 weeks just to make sure that we're able to get with the proposed developer as well as the residents there to make sure they're, whatever is decided, they're on board with, and we just need a little bit of time to meet with both sides. But I know it's still being worked on.
Okay, 2 weeks. All right, Madam Clerk.
So the 25th. CIP resolutions held over. 01119, authorized agreement with Gorham Air Conditioning Company for mechanical improvements at the Hope Community Center.
Did we do this once in the last 3 years on the AC system at Hope? I thought I saw this, well, I remember seeing Hope on the agenda in the last 3 years with the AC system. Is this a repair or replacement?
It's a partial replacement.
A partial replacement.
Yes.
So the last time, was it a partial replacement also?
Yes, this was basically the gymnasium.
I'm sorry, never been up here before. This is just for the gymnasium to be replaced, not the other portion of the community center.
So we've been repairing the gymnasium.
Correct, yeah. But at this point, we're replacing both. There's 2 units there, 2 15-ton units, and we're replacing both of those.
So it has redundancy, is what you're telling me?
There's one on each corner of the building on the roof, so they work together to supply the air conditioning to the entire gym.
Okay, I was just curious because I've seen it before.
Okay.
Madam Clerk.
01-120, authorized agreement with WAS Design for playground, court, and site improvements at Lafayette Park.
And Mr. President, I know I talked about this last week, but just want to make sure that everyone understands that this is only hiring a design firm. We will be meeting with the neighborhood over there to determine exactly what the playground will or will not look like, as well as some other improvements on the footprint itself.
Madam Clerk.
Consent resolutions held over 40-1194. Declare the structure at 916 Shady Brook Drive, public nuisance, and order it demolished.
Mr. President, just a quick update for Mr. Reynolds. This was held over for 60 days so that the owner could get a permit to begin the demolition. The rear of this house has been burned, and there's extensive damage in the garage and the rear of the structure. Regretfully, we've had no contact from the owner, and no permit has been applied for. So I do recommend that we move forward to declare it a public nuisance.
Madam Clerk.
Resolutions held over 01-122, authorized agreement with Alabama Department of Environmental Management for the Langen Park Lake Stormwater Improvement Project.
Mr. President, on this one, this is really some exciting news for me anyway. And I wondered if Jen might come to the podium and just give us an update on exactly what this means and how we're moving forward with the dredging project.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
This is $711,000 that's being contributed to part of the project that we're doing for Langen dredging. We're actually utilizing some of the material that's coming out of the lake to rehabilitate a very outdated stormwater feature. It's an open ditch that comes off of Ziegler. And so we're doing that in a more of a natural stream design. It's going to be designed to trap sediment to stop the lake from refilling with sediment. And so this money is specifically for that, and that's why it's a cooperative agreement from the state. It's part of an EPA program they have. And the bid opening is February 19th.
Yeah, that bid opening is really what got my attention. So we're moving forward toward bid opening, which then leads forward to a contract, and then we will see the dredging at Langen Park.
Correct. We'll be moving forward as quickly as possible.
As quickly as possible. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Well, I looked over at hers, and hers is on and red, and mine is red.
It's because
off.
you've got a
Doesn't make
different
you-
microphone.
I'm laboring under advanced age. Tell me again how you're going to deal with the spoil.
So we're keeping a segment of the spoil that's coming out of the lake. It's going to go into geotubes, and it's going to stay on site where that stormwater feature is, which is on the northeast part of the park. It's an open ditch. If you've walked through there, you've seen it. It's a concrete open ditch.
Right.
And so we're going to be rebuilding it in a specific shape that's designed to slow down water coming off Ziegler through that stormwater feature and trap sediment. So we stop creating islands in the lake. So it's a really specific kind of design that we're excited about.
And who's doing that design work?
Geosyntec.
Geosyntec. I would just urge you, I've seen, I support it. I support it. But I've seen systems, at least one instance where systems like this were installed and then failed when we have one of these,
Sure.
15, 20-inch rains. So I hope that they will design it in such a way that it will be able to withstand the kinds of rains we get here, 2 or 3 times a year.
That's correct. So it's actually a combination of green and gray infrastructure. So there is stabilization going in with large stones. So it's designed for that 100-year type flood. So
Right.
we've looked closely at that to make sure. And it'll be monitored and maintained. And obviously, if there's an issue, we'll be addressing it quickly. So, but we don't expect any.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Madam Clerk?
08123, approved purchase order to Alabama Pool Works for 40-pound bags of salt for street de-icing. 08124, approved purchase order to Sunbelt Fire for pressure breathing air compressor. 08125, approved purchase order to Massimo Americas for pulse oximeter starter kits for Mobile Fire Rescue. 08126, approved purchase order to Spire LLC for marketing services for events in Parks Department. 21127, authorized contract with Michael Baker International for stormwater management professional services. Ordinance is being introduced. 88006, authorized the conveyance of revisionary interest for land located on Mordecai Lane, which is not now needed for public or municipal purposes.
Mr. President.
Madam,
I know Carlene is here, and there may be others who would like or need to speak to this and explain exactly what's going on. For those of us who have been around since the dark ages, we all know that there has been quite a history with the properties over there and disagreements ongoing between the city of Mobile and Moz. So if we can just get an explanation so that everybody is on the same page and understanding what we're doing, I think that would really help.
The Moz agreement with the city of Mobile, it was originally done in 1953 between the city and Bienville Waterworks. And so that indenture is for a large piece of land all through Ms. Gregory's district and some in District 5. And so as we've done with the school board and our other, partners, we're trying to untangle some of the contracts and documents that were done in yesteryear. This is 7.5 acres right off of McGregor Avenue, in which Moz will take the lead in the disposition and selling that property. They have very similar ordinances like city does, like posting it publicly for sale, etc. And so the end proceeds will be split 50-50.
That's because of the original ownership.
Yes, we have the deed restriction.
I didn't see a deed. That's why I asked. There was no deed posted.
I can send you, in 1953, they called it an indenture. And so it is done by township and range. It's fun to read.
I bet it is. Okay. So, I mean, that's just curious. If we have it, that's fine. Normally you guys put the deed inside. Everything else, I didn't see that. So, and then we're splitting because of the original ownership.
Yeah, I had gotten a question from one of the residents who lives over in that area asking, why the city is willing to split the proceeds. And in a text, it's hard to explain everything, but I basically said it just goes long history, long story, goes back to the 50s. And basically, we're just trying to come to an agreement so that we can move this property on along. And for anyone who is listening in or who is concerned about what will happen with that property, it is currently zoned for residential. It's R1. And until and unless somebody purchases that property and wants to do something else with it, it will remain R1.
It's not the prettiest side either.
Well, I mean, it is close to the water tower, but.
Madam Clerk.
Consent resolutions being introduced. 03131, appoint Haley Van Antwerp to the Mobile Museum of Art Board. 132, 133 are declaring the structures 1805 Larkwood Drive and 554 Hickory Street public nuisances and ordering them demolished.
Just lay over Hickory Street one way.
46134 honorarily rename Plum Street from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue to Persimmon Street as Mrs. Lois Nero Thompson Way. CIP resolutions being introduced. 01135, authorized agreement with Integrity Maintenance for Harmon Recreation Center HVAC, $110,000. Resolutions being introduced. 01136, authorized agreement with C. Robards General Contractors for Africa Town Welcome Center, $4,633,000.
Let's just get some more information on that. I mean, where we at with this and when we're going to start, Yeah, when we're gonna start, I mean, what is this really, in front of us when it's gonna start? I mean, what's happening? Yeah.
So the expected construction start date is I'm anticipating another month and a half, 2 months. I know once we get the executed contract back from you all, it's got to go back to U.S. Treasury for review, and I don't have an idea of what that timeline might look like. I think within a week or two, we can probably submit it to Restore or to the U.S. Treasury, and hopefully a couple more weeks, a month to a month, have a response from them. So I would anticipate the start date a month and a half to maybe 2 months, pushing it. And the construction timeline is about 365 days, 12 months.
12 months?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You should. Oh, God.
01-137, authorized agreement with Fruit of the Spirit Athletics for professional services for Parks and Recreation, $100,000 per year.
Can someone tell us exactly what is this in front of?
Fruit of the Spirit. Sounds very, very spiritual.
This is a assigner group for athletics. We are contracting with them to assign officials for all of our sports leagues except for soccer.
So we're not, are they local?
They are local.
And are the referees local?
Yes, everything is local. Matter of fact, it's a local company and he's actually opened up the LLC just for our organization.
Who is he?
I'll have to get you his name.
Really? Because the Alabama High School Athletic Association has been providing our referees for everything that we have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything in the city. So is this a new company?
It's a new company, but it's not a new guy.
So where are the referees coming from is the question.
It's the same referees we've used in the past. It's the same local referees that we use for the high school, that we use for all of our leagues. They're pulling from the same group. All we're doing is doing a different assigner. In order for us to move forward, we've been working with finance over the last 6 months. All of our referees were going to have a business license. So in order for us to not have them all get a business license, we've gone with the option of doing an assigner, which now the assigner has the insurance, they have the business license, and they will pay our referees the same amount that we would pay.
So that's only for Mobile Parks and Recreation?
Huh?
That's only for Mobile Parks and Recreation?
Correct.
Okay, because you kill USSA, you kill all the AAUs, you kill the CYO when you start to get into that pot. So when you say all referees, and some of those referees are less than 16 years old.
We don't manage those. These are only for Parks and Recreation.
And so, okay. And some of the certified referees are 18 and still in high school that actually work in Parks and Recreation. I know as a coach, I know who they are. So it seems like we're about to start taxing some people in a way that they're not ready to manage.
That's why we got an assigner.
Correct. That the assigner prevents us from having to have them go through the getting a business license and things of that. The assigner will actually have all of our referees, and they will be paying them directly. The referees will not have to get a business license.
Oh, well, your first sentence is all our referees have to get a business license.
Yes. Well, they would have.
They would have.
Yes.
That creates a problem.
Yeah, they would have. But no, now they will not.
Okay, and then the assigner for the Alabama High School Athletic Association will carry the license for all the other referees.
That is correct. And I'll get you the name of the guy because I have a feeling you know him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me understand this. So these referees work for the city of Mobile?
No.
Okay.
Can I give?
Yes.
Well, currently you
So I
pay them
wanna
all direct.
So historically, we hired individuals to come and be referees, and we paid them directly. As them coming to do that business, we found out that they should have been required to have a business license individually, which comes into an issue with our 17, 18-year-old, and they're coming in not making a lot of money. So what we went to is what is more traditional, is an assigner, who we pay this person, and that person is responsible for recruiting referees and paying them and assigning them and holding them accountable, so that not every individual will have to get a business license. So now it will be one person with a company who is managing all of the referees for Parks and Recreation.
So I'm guessing the local association will hold the assigner's license.
It's that business who owns that.
Yeah, the local association has a chief referee or an individual that assigns all the other referees. So I guess the association would have to.
That's what Fruit of the Spirit will have. So they are the assigner and they're the ones for holding all of that. Yes.
Still confused, but yeah.
So when you see even like with the high schools, there's one person who assigns for baseball, what referee is going to be there, what time they're going to be there. They're the ones responsible for training them, making sure that their licenses are up to date. So instead of us having to manage that with 30 different referees, there's one person now that we need to talk to make sure this is our schedule. They're going to make sure that a referee is there. They're going to do all of that management part that we don't have to do anymore.
I thought that they already did that. You guys just paid the referees.
It was not organized. It was somebody who kind of in place did that, but it was not a structured system.
Oh. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
08138, approve awards of item-based bid for janitorial supplies. 08139, approve purchase order to Cadis for traffic video detection system, $17,263. 08140, approve purchase order to Capital Tractor for tractor with accessories, $38,670.26. 08141, approved purchase order to Dogwood Productions for city website hosting, live streaming, and accessibility compliance, $54,770. 08142, approved purchase order to Granicus for 1 year subscription to compliance software, $32,018. 08.
Mr. President.
Vice President.
On the Granicus, I know what it's for, but I'm not sure everybody else knows what Granicus is for. If we can get somebody from the administration to just provide some updates on what this means and why we need it.
Granicus will allow us to track our short-term rentals to bring them into compliance with the lodging taxes and that we haven't been collecting, but the UDC also requires them to participate in. So that's the tracking software that we'll be using.
Yeah, this is something that David Clark had brought to our attention some time ago as a possibility to better track the short-term rentals, because as you probably know, we've got an effort underway now to track down short-term rentals to make sure that they have business licenses, have paid their back taxes and things like that. So Granicus is another step forward to make sure that we are being paid for what we are owed, because as David had pointed out some time ago that, you know, there's a lot that's being missed out there. So I think this is a good step forward.
That's right.
Okay.
08143, approved purchase order to Lowe's Home Centers for Mardi Gras protective barriers.
If we get some more information on that, exactly what is this in front of us?
For Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Those are various.
We have actually ordered from Lowe's, and we're hoping you guys approve, is barriers that will go around Bienville Square during Mardi Gras. They're temporary. They're similar to the fencing that you'll see over at Cathedral Square. It's that kind of that wrought iron look. We will be able to place them so that people aren't trampling the bedding and the vegetation and having to replace it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we will, after Mardi Gras is over, then we can remove it and then put it back in place again next Mardi Gras.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
08144, approved purchase order to Remote Tech for robot ground vehicle with control and accessories, $446,815.
Mr. President.
Mr. Penn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to, Rob coming up. And then can you also kind of talk about where the funds coming from? I know the public has some questions about that and the need of having this type of vehicle.
Well, first and foremost, about 6 months ago, you approved us accepting a port security grant. The majority of the money for the robot is coming from the port security grant. There is a match. It's either 20 or 25%. This particular piece of items is what you would see as used by the bomb techs for bomb detection, bomb disruption. Our current robot is a tethered unit. This is an untethered unit. This allows us to create a greater space between us and the device. Also, our current unit is no longer in production. Therefore, the parts are no longer in production. Eventually, when we're done with the makeshift parts and repairs, our current unit will be obsolete and not working. So this replaces this. It'll be housed mainly at the port. However, will begin to be deployed throughout the city.
How's it port?
Yes, because it's part of the port security grant, so it's going to be readily accessed to the port. But if it needs to be utilized elsewhere in the city, that's where it'll be taken.
Where will it be?
At the port. I don't know exactly where, but it will be in a building in the port. But like I said, this is a bomb robot. Ours is obsolete. We saw the opportunity to use the port security grant, which we approved 6 months ago. This was listed as part of what's there.
Okay.
Any further questions?
All right, thank you.
Hey, Mr. President.
Yes.
Going back to 8-143, the Mardi Gras protective barriers. Do we need to take that today? Would that help? I mean, I know that our first parade is what, Friday?
17,000.
Yeah, it's 17,000.
Yeah, and I won't have any objections. All right.
08145, approved purchase order to SHI International for annual renewal of cybersecurity training software and services, $24,575. 08146, approved purchase order to Cyrus Ford for crew cab pickup truck for inspection services, $30,809. 08147, approved purchase order to ThinkGuard for annual renewal of cybersecurity network monitor and protection software and services, $21,060. 08148, approved purchase order to Top Notch Tree Care for tree planting on Airport Boulevard, $28,500.
Mr. President,
Vice President.
since we are waiving some rules here on these lower amounts, can we do this one and the next one since they are both well below 50,000?
And how about 147?
Which one?
147, it's $21,000.
Anyone have any objections?
That'd be
There are
those
a bunch of
last,
them here.
those last three right there, yeah.
You could do 145, 146, 147, 148.
Well, yeah.
and 149.
True that. Anybody opposed to waiving all of those? Okay.
I don't have a problem with this one question. That our guy who comes.
Possibly. I don't know.
No, I'm just asking, are we helping to plant any of those?
I
trees on
don't.
the airport that he was asking about.
Shonda can speak to that. I don't know. It's
Just shake your
urban
head up
forestry.
and down. Are we planting any of the trees at locations that our friend has been asking us about with this?
He doesn't get to determine where we plant the trees. So we did an assessment. We're working with Tree Commission, and Tree Commission is actually, this is their money. We're just putting the bid out, and this went out, and that's who won, and then they're going to go plant
So these are.
along Airport Boulevard. Yes.
Where, Shonda? Do you
Where
want-
on Airport
Where, yeah,
Boulevard?
where?
I can see if I can get you a map. I can't tell you exactly.
Okay.
where. Okay. Oh, you talking about the from 65 to McGregor? Exactly where? Is that what you're
Oh,
asking?
no.
Oh,
Just-
okay. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Okay.
Just that section, 65.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's
Thank you.
the section our buddy's been having a conversation with us about all the time.
Part of it. Yes.
All right, Madam Clerk.
13149, authorized change order with Delcon for Museum of Art exterior repairs, $14,375. Call for public hearings, 150, call for public hearing to consider rezoning property located at 1400 Dolphin Island Parkway, 2007 Webb Avenue, 2006 McVeigh Drive North from R1 to B2, scheduled March 18th. 151, call for public hearing to consider rezoning property located at the southeast corner of Commerce Boulevard East and Commerce Boulevard South, extending to the southwest corner of Commerce Boulevard South and Commerce Boulevard West from B5 and I2 to R1, scheduled March 18th. 152, call for public hearing to consider the proposed modification of a previously approved planning approval for property located at 817 Downtown Boulevard and 3725 Airport Boulevard, scheduled March 18th. 41-153, call for public hearing to consider the proposed modification of a previously approved PUD for property located at 817 Downtown Boulevard and 3725 Airport Boulevard, scheduled March 18th. 41-154, call for public hearing to consider modification of a previously approved planning approval for property located at 951 Downtown Boulevard, 3655 Marion Beckham Drive, scheduled March 18th. 41-155, call for public hearing to consider the modification of a previously approved PUD for property located at 951 Downtown Boulevard and 3655 Marion Beckham Drive, scheduled March 18th. 41-156, call for public hearing to consider an ordinance regarding the issuance of general obligation warrants, scheduled February 25th. 41-157, call for public hearing to consider the application of Cynthia Crenshaw for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to operate a shuttle service, scheduled February 25th. 41-158, call for public hearing to consider the application of Carlos Dixon for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to operate a shuttle service, scheduled February 25th. 41-159, call for public hearing to consider the application of Angel Williams for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to operate a sedan service, scheduled February 25th. Announcements.
Anything from the council? Anything from the administration? Okay. We'll see each other at 10:30.